Focus, focus, focus. Hey guys, welcome to today's video. As always, thank you for stopping by. My name is Kat, and today we are going to do part 2 of the Hocus Pocus spellbook build. If you didn't see my first video, I will link it in the description box below. But this is what we are making today. This is a version of the Hocus Pocus spellbook that I made a couple years ago, and I'm going to remake this for you. So if you haven't seen part 1, circle back to that and then come back to this part of the video. A couple of things you're going to need for this part of the video is some hemp-like rope and some scissors to cut it with. You will need some modeling clay, plasticine, Play-Doh, Fimo, whatever you feel comfortable with. I got this from the dollar store. You will need a glue gun and glue sticks. And this is an optional thing. You can use some rubber gloves, and these ones I recommend. These are Watson Green Monkey. They're biodegradable, and I think that's super important, especially because we are trying to reduce the amount of plastic and waste that we have in the landfills and all around. So if you can find a biodegradable rubber glove, recommend those. I think I got these from Princess Auto, but I've seen them on Amazon as well. One thing you're going to do is take your hemp-like rope, and I probably got this from the dollar store or Michael's, and I've cut the end and I've taken a chunk out of it, and I have just separated it down into single strands. And you can use whatever size of strand you want, and this is just a little prep for you guys. And they look like this, and I will be cutting them down further. You will want, like I said, your hot glue gun. And if you have or have seen at the dollar store, Michael's, you might want some sculpting tools. These are just plastic ones I got, I think, in a pack for plasticine molding / sculpting. Those are handy, but if you don't have them, you can just use stuff around your house. You can use pens, spoons, knives, like not super sharp ones, but you know, kind of dull butter knives. You can use the ends of like paint brushes. I mean, there's lots of options. Toothpicks, popsicle sticks, all that kind of stuff. So I guess stay tuned for part 2. So hey guys, welcome to part 2. We're going to do some modeling with some modeling clay. I've got modeling clay here. I got this from the dollar store. It was $1.50, but you can get it from Michael's. You can use plasticine, you can use Fimo. And here I've got the book, and I've just made a long line of clay to kind of make that snake on the side. You can put a book kind of edging on it. I did in my last one. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it in this one. And I'm just going to let that one dry. But we're going to work on the fingers and kind of this around the eye here right now. So I'll show you kind of how that has been done. And so you're going to take your modeling clay and you're going to take a good piece of modeling clay. I'm kind of starting to run out, but that's okay. And you're going to make this look like a finger. So these are biodegradable disposable gloves. You do not need to wear them. I just wear them for, just because I like wearing them when I work with clay and modeling stuff. So what you're going to do for the fingers of this, you're going to kind of measure how far you need it. And if you look at your own fingers, you guys can see kind of what they look like. There's a couple of knuckles and there's a you know, fingernail bed. So what I'm going to take, these I just got from the dollar store as well, but if you don't have it, you can kind of use anything around the house. A pen works well, knives, spoons, things like that. I'm going to make a fingernail bed kind of like that. Just kind of make some indentation, and then there's like a knuckle. If you look at your hand, there's like a couple of knuckles, one here and one here, so you can kind of just do some lines. This doesn't need to be perfect. Maybe I'll indent it a little bit here, and that, once it's dried, will be part of the spine of the book. They'll probably sit more like that. And I just kind of remeasure and make sure that they are the same height as the spine of the book. And so you'll want to go ahead and make 5 of those. And I've gone ahead and done some pre-makes here. So here's Some of my fingers, I'm not sure if I'll use all of them. They might need to be, they're going to be like that. They're going to sit on the spine of the book, and you can make them as fat or as, so take that finger off. So you'll want to make 5 of those. I mean, you could make more, totally up to you. So I'm going to take some more modeling clay. And I'm going to make this kind of thing in here. So what I'm going to do is make sure it's all kind of in a ball, and then I'm just going to start rolling it between my hands. And this is probably a terrible way to do it. I never really trained in clay molding or sculpting, and you're going to want to continuously measure to see the length of it. Here, we'll move this book out of the way quick. And try to make it so it's kind of even along the length of it. And I always kind of fab it to this book, and I can see I'm missing just a little bit there, but we can just roll that into that. So then what you want to gonna, so we've got it like this on there, and what you'll want to do is take it off. Take it off there and flatten it out. And it doesn't need to be perfect. It's just gonna look like the latch on the Hocus Pocus spell book. So you flatten it out, and I'm just gonna take this, but you can use a pen, you can use toothpicks, and I'm just gonna run it along here, give it some texture and some movement, and then you can, once it's dry, it will sit very nicely just on top. See that? So the next thing I'm gonna do is, she's got little snakes that sit on the corners of the book, and I've already done the one along the spine. And all I've done with that, and you just use the same application for all of them, is you roll it between your hands, you make it as long or as thick as you want, and it's okay if you lose some. All I'm gonna do, it does not need to be perfect, you guys. These are just minor details. If you want to make it perfect, go ahead and do that, and please tag me in. So I just make like a point for the snake, give him some eyes, and then I kind of bump him a little head, and then I just run this along to kind of give it some texture, and you can kind of do this a little bit, just give it some movement, give it some look, and then you're just going to want to mold this to however you feel like you want it. So I mean, the ones that I've seen, they're kind of sitting up. Make that snake head a little bit different. You can use rubber snakes as well. So you're going to want to make 2 of these, so they sit on either edge of your book, and I always measure just to make sure, and that's kind of where we're at. So we're going to go ahead and let these dry, and once they're dry, we'll circle back and we'll continue on our build. Another little tidbit thing you can do just to enhance it, and I didn't mention this at the beginning of the video in part 1, but you can take a little gem. These are from the craft store, dollar store, and you can, once you've got your latch kind of in a place where you want it, and I do let a lot of this dry on here just because there's a lot of movement in the book, and that way it kind of just molds and kind of fits itself onto the book. You can add a little gem if that's what you so choose to do. I think I'm gonna put another one on. I did put one on my original book, and do it while the clay is drying, and that way it will be stuck in there. And I can go ahead and put my little snakes there. Just like so. Then we'll put one up here. And then, you know, you can always check your reference photo, or if you have a good memory, you can just kind of go with what you feel. These snakes are just an added thing, and I think in the film she has them crossed and knotted. I'm not gonna do that on this one because I recall it being kind of a pain on the last one, but this is kind of where we're at. So just let all that dry on there. The fingers you can let dry in a tray, and that's what I'm doing. They're just drying in the tray, and then these will get glued on after they're painted. So guys, we're letting all this dry, and it's drying pretty nicely on here. In the meantime, I'm gonna take this hemp kind of rope that we found / bought and cut and made it to our size, and we're gonna make the little stitches that go across. So you're gonna wanna cut this like this in little stitch-like pieces. And make sure your glue gun is hot. And you can use tweezers if you want. It might be a little easier on your fingers. I don't have them nearby, so I'll use these forceps. So what you're gonna do is anywhere that you've made kind of our glue bumps, what you're gonna do is one little dab on either side. And that should be sufficient to hold these stitches down. And you can obviously cut the ends off after it's dried. Like this. And just make them however you feel they should be made. There's no right or wrong way of doing this. They all kind of are gonna look a little different. You can put as many down as you want. You can put as little down as you want. You don't have to put any down either. And I mean, realistically, you could do this with white glue. It's just gonna take a lot longer to set. And that, you know, that's always time consuming. So I just whip out the hot glue gun. Just make a lot of these little pieces. And you can use, like I said, you can use hemp rope, you can use string, you can use twine, you can use almost anything that you think Winifred would tie up her skin with. This is kind of a fun little project, and it's all about how you feel it should look, or how you feel the look should be. That's what art is. It's an interpretation of what you think it is. So don't feel like there's any right or wrong reason. I did try to use these forceps, but I don't like using them. So I'm gonna go ahead and do all of these on camera, and so just follow along, and I'll catch you once this is all dry. So you guys, I got all these kind of tacked down. I see this one's kind of lifting. And just kind of make it what you want. On my other build, I put a lot more on. I put a lot less on this one. I don't know, just something different. And obviously get all the glue strandy thingies off there. This is where you want to be really, really careful with this build, is lifting these up to glue them down. You can do this two ways. I'm confident in my painting skills. So I'm gonna lift these up and I'm gonna glue them down and let them kind of just dry there. Or you could paint them and then glue them down. That is the optional bit of this. But I'm just gonna go ahead and glue them. Because this for me is not gonna be a super functional piece, it's just gonna sit on a stand really nicely and just kind of add to the decor space. This is the reason why I'm doing this. If you guys want to put this and actually use it, I would go a completely different route. I would use rubber pieces for all this, but because, like I said, this is just going to be a kind of a standalone piece, it's not going to be moving very much. I am just going to straight up glue all this down, and then I will go ahead and paint. I have swapped out glue before. I have used epoxy on, I've built a couple of these, I should say. I've used epoxy on glue, or to glue clay down before, and you definitely can do that if that's what you choose to do to make it a little bit more stiff. I'm just gonna go in with my really good glue sticks and just have at her like this. So if you guys, your choice, you do what you do. Like I said, art is subjective to the artist, so make it your own. Use the products you think you should be using or want to be using, or try, and yeah, just kind of have fun with it. And then I will put the fingers on as well, and then I'll go ahead and paint them. So put my fingers on. Just a thing about the fingers, make sure they are flat bottomed, and that way they do sit flush along the back. This was part 2 of the Hocus Pocus spellbook build. Thank you all for stopping in. My name is Kat. If you haven't seen the video part 1, the link is in the description box. Hit the subscribe, give me a thumbs up, hit the notifications because there will be a part 3 of this build, and we will see you guys again soon.